It says, can a bald man be considered attractive? See, I made that video talking about what I do for a living, and I revealed something that doesn't sound like truth to some people who watch my channel who think that I truly am just obsessed with hair loss. That's all I think about. When in reality, outside of me making these videos, it's not something I talk about. But sporadically I'll have, oh, that'd be a good idea, and I write it down. And the question says, can a bald man be considered attractive? I want to talk about that because it's easy to assume that if you lose your hair, that you're not attractive anymore. A lot of people who watch my channel believe that. Of course, I say whatever you believe about hair loss is true in your mind, right? So if you believe that, well, of course, as you watch this video, you're gonna say, can a bald man be attractive? Of course he can't, okay? So that implies that hair is the main thing that's making a man attractive, okay? So can a bald man be considered attractive? Think about where your brain's going with that, okay? But then I have this other question on here. These were meant to be two different videos, but I want to combine them, like as I press record on that. No, I should actually make them the same. The follow-up question would be, are men with hair good looking beyond their hair? Okay, so let's like sort out these two things right now in real time, unrehearsed. There's meant to be two different videos, but I think it's more interesting if I combine them. Because I think a lot of people who watch my videos think if they go bald, they will no longer be attractive. And I don't think that, I know that, I read the comments. There are people who are convinced that you can't get married, can't have kids. There's just no chance of those happening if you lose your hair, because without hair, you will be ugly, okay? But there are people watching my channel who know good and well that you can be an attractive man if you have no hair. Now that's assuming too, if you're completely bald on top, that you're shaving it off. And of course, some men will say things like they don't have the right head shape or whatever it is like that. And I agree, certain men have better head shapes for it, okay? But if you have no hair on top, some people write it off as no hope, while others say, I know men who are very attractive and they have no hair, okay? And we can easily think of movie stars, but ultimately, I like the reverse part of that question too, the follow-up. Are men with hair good looking beyond their hair? Because I think to imply that you have to have hair to be considered good looking. Okay, so they were saying that as far as your facial features, see, that's something I don't think we talk about enough on this channel, if ever, okay? We make such a big deal about hair making the thing that determines whether you're attractive or not. What we don't talk about are actual facial features, right? Okay, if we all did this and just covered up our hair and looked at faces alone, certain faces are going to be more attractive than others. Certain ones are more symmetrical, certain features that people find attractive, okay? One of the things I remember I learned in college is that people who have large eyes and taller foreheads are perceived to be more universally attractive. And what they were saying was, in the same way you see a baby, if you see a baby, it's natural to say, oh, how cute, right? Babies are cute. Well, their proportions are not like human beings. They're not like the rest of us, because babies' heads account for about a quarter of their height. They have big heads by default, proportionally. And their eyes tend to be bigger proportion as well. And we see that, and that's cute. Well, guess what? As an adult, it's still the same concept. If your head is a higher proportion of your body, of your height, and you have large eyes, and you have a tall forehead like babies do, because by default, most babies don't really have a lot of hair, that is part of the thing that makes people attractive. So there's lots of things that go into it beyond hair. So it's just an interesting concept that so many people say that they think that a man cannot be attractive if he's bald. But then what about all the ugly dudes that have hair? It's funny because when you start looking at guys that still have their hair, like say that are in their 40s and still have their hair, and maybe your first thought is, wow, they're lucky they still have all their hair and they're in their 40s, they're in their 50s. Well, then look at it. Take a second look and think, okay, but are they an attractive man? And it's funny because what you'll find is not so much. It's almost like a lot of men who are able to keep their hair they needed their hair because that was one thing that kind of helped set off the fact that they weren't that attractive to begin with. So at least they had the hair, kind of thing. Tell me your thoughts on that. I think this is an interesting and challenging thing for us to talk about. That we put so much emphasis on hair making a man attractive or not, that we forget about the fact that there's a lot of things that make a man's face physically attractive, and that's not even to mention his body. But you can't do a whole lot about your face. If you don't have a good face, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. So then in that case, maybe hair serves as a distractor for men who are not that good looking to begin with. Good thing, looks isn't the main thing that men have going for them. I'm so glad I'm not a girl, because man, if I were a girl, my looks would mean a lot, wouldn't they?